ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
I now request our dignitaries, Professor Ajay Kapoor, Mr. A. Gopalakrishnan, Mr. Andrew Voliotis, Mr. Venugopal C. Govind, Mr. Saiju Arvind, Dr. Appara Mukhamalaji, Mr. Rajesh Patel, Dr. Smita Harikumar, Ms. Pratibha V, Ms. Priya Pillai, Mr. Rajagopal, Dr. Anil Kumar, Ms. Geeta Devi, Dr. Lali Ma'am, to kindly join us on the stage for lighting the lamp and invoke the blessings of the Almighty.
विश्वं विष्णुर्वषट्कारो भव्यभवत् प्रभुः। ॐ परमात्मा च मुक्ता परमागतिः। और्यः पुरुषः साक्षी क्षेत्रज्ञोऽक्षर एव च।
Thank you, everyone. I request you to take your seats. We will start the session with a formal welcome address by Professor Ajay Kapoor, Vice Chancellor of Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Sandhya. And it's a great occasion to have and to you with us and launch our program on artificial intelligence and chat GPT. It is something which is shaping and is going to shape the future of the world. So very important for us as educators to think what should we do, how should we train our students so that they can thrive in the new environment, in the new world. All these things take a lot of time to organize, and wonderful to see that through good efforts of Gopal Krishnanji and our other trustees or other principal, we are working together. So many students are able to join us. So I like to welcome, and to you, I like to welcome Saiju here, and many more speakers will be telling us about what this technology is, how we can use this technology. I'll also like to welcome the principals. I'll also like to welcome the teachers who are here, some parents, and all the students. Welcome, and I hope that we all have a wonderful program today. Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you, Ajay ji, for the crisp and warm welcome. I now invite Mr. A. Gopalakrishnan, Chief Sevak, CMECT-Greater Cochin, to deliver the inaugural address.
Hari Om, pranams. Let me at the outset offer my Satang pranams at the lotus feet of Puja Gurudev, with whose grace and blessings all of us are present today for participating in this August seminar, in which we may discuss about the latest modern knowledge system, how the technology is going to empower us. And esteemed Vice Chancellor of CMECT Vishwa Vidyapeeth, Ajay Kapoorji, respected Managing Trustee of CMECT Vishwa Vidyapeeth, Dr. Aparavuji, erudite scholar and professor on artificial intelligence, Dr. Andrew, my esteemed colleagues in the CMECT Trust Board, Dr. Vijay Kumar, P.N. Venugopal, Rajgopal, Venugopal, C. Govind, our proud, committed principals of the 5 Vidyalayas and the college, our committed, dedicated teachers of the 5 Vidyalayas, our beloved students, and the parents who are participating online and offline. Hari Om, pranams. Today, I think, or I believe, the Chinmaya institutions under CMECT-Greater Cochin and Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth, both based at Ernakulam, may be the first institution in the educational sector to organize a prestigious seminar of this value and this effect. And we are really blessed and fortunate that we have the occasion to listen to the words of wisdom from our Australian professor, Mr. Andrews, who is actually working in an institute which is dedicated for artificial intelligence. We are equally fortunate that Saiju, who is a professional entrepreneur, who has done or who is doing commendable research in the field of education, combining software and how to help the students to identify the gap for improvement and what practical steps have to be taken in a very gradual manner, graded manner, so that he is able to reach the pinnacle of, I would say, pinnacle of success and achievement. Of course, all such good things, whenever we think or visualize, I must say that all our principals and the teachers and the students and the parents and my esteemed trustees in the CMECT also comes forward. And Dr. Aparavuji is a person who always understands the new things and emerging things, and he always actively participates in that. Now let us all think what exactly is the Chat GPT. I don't want to go into the detail, which we are keen to listen to Mr. Andrews and Mr. Saiju. But if you look at that, I will say, in the another 5 to 10 or 15 years, or maybe 2 decades, the business, the teaching, the learning, the medical profession, legal profession, accounting profession, you would take anything. Next 2 decades is going to be influenced and decided and directed by artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud computing, and ChatGPT. And ChatGPT, if you look at it, I can say it is very simple. Don't think it is complex and complicated. Not at all. I'm telling, I will not say anything without myself doing some practice on that. And I would have only put about 100 to 200 hours of practice on ChatGPT. I'm telling you with the experience and the knowledge that I have. It is something actually, imagine that you are able to get the entire world of knowledge, entire world of textbooks, information and articles. And through some, I can say the brutal machine power, you are able to summarize and put the entire knowledge in 5 sentences or 10 sentences. That is ChatGPT. Even in any learning curve, any learning process, the first fundamental thing, even as a student or when you suppose I want to come for make a presentation here or any topic, normally we gather, as a teacher, I need not tell you, we gather materials from various sources. We collect about 10 or 20 books, read the whole thing and prepare a text on the basis of that we produce. And from that summary of the 10 books, we come out with a note, and that note becomes the subject matter for our presentation. Imagine, on the other hand, instead of 10, you have 1,000 textbooks, 10,000 articles, and all these things are summarized by the machine, by the software in a text format, and you are getting that. And from that, you are able to summarize. It is going to trigger your thought processes. It is going to trigger your thinking processes. We hear about the high order thinking skills, creative thinking, imaginative thinking, etc. How to trigger, but nobody is going to teach us, or nobody is rather teaching us how to think, what to think, how to think deeply, or how that part of it we take later when the Indian knowledge system is being discussed after those 2 sessions are over. So ChatGPT is a simple concept, I will say. The transform, it is a simply generative pre-trained transformer system. I don't want to go into the details of that. So it is, at this moment, it is going to summarize or take extract from the text format. Maybe in the years to come, it may go further areas also. At that point of time, I can tell you ChatGPT will definitely help us. But one of the advantages that we find here is that I was just telling, when we are going to organize this seminar, Dr. Aparavuji, the youngest student at the age of 75, and Dr. Vijay Kumar, my own Guru Venuval sir, all of us above the age of 60, 65, and the small student of, let us say, 5 years or 6 years or 10 years or 20 years, or the teachers, all of us assembled together to listen. It's a new knowledge. So we all of us become students, that equality is being maintained. I'm sure that the ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, machine learning, that is going to be the pillars of the new knowledge system, pillars of the new business strategies, pillars of the new thinking process. So with that, I really once again thank profusely Chinmaya University for granting us this great opportunity. With the permission of all the seniors present, with the permission of all the teachers, with the permission of all the principals, I inaugurate this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We move towards the talk we have been awaiting. Allow me to introduce the speaker for the same, Mr. Andrew Williottis. He's a product manager at the Applied Artificial Intelligence Institute, Deacon's University, Australia. His work spans the full life cycle of a project, starting from strategy, concept design, development, delivery to stakeholder management. In the last 5 years, he managed 22 projects spanning different domains, including aged care, health, regulation technology, education, and finance. The solutions he's developed leverage a range of technologies, including web, mobile, game engines, and virtual reality. His work has been recognized with numerous awards, including the Vice Chancellor's Award for Industry Engagement, the Award for Most Innovative Project in Aged Care, and the Australian Best Healthcare Project. Requesting you to take the dais. Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. It's an honor to be back in India after the past few years and to be able to present to you here at Chinmaya. My name is Andrew Buliotis, but everyone calls me Andy, and I'm a product manager at an Artificial Intelligence Institute in Melbourne, Australia. Just to check, are we able to get the slides up? Awesome, thank you. Minor technical difficulties. Here we go. So for those of you who may not know, Melbourne is all the way in the bottom right-hand corner of Australia. However, I'm guessing you probably know it better for the Melbourne Cricket Ground. So I work for Deakin University, which has approximately 50,000 enrollments. There's also a campus that is going to be built in Gift City in Gujarat in the next 1 to 2 years. Now, I know that many of you here today are from different levels of your education journey. So can I get a show of your or raise your hands if you're currently in high school? Come on, don't be shy. Awesome. Now, can I get you to raise your hands if you are studying in university, whatever level in university, or all the way up the back over there? Now, can I see the teachers and principals? Who are the teachers and principals? Oh, thank you. Fantastic. And have I missed anyone else other than the delegates from today? No, excellent. Fantastic. So today my goal is to discuss different things that resonate with everyone in the room. So I'm going to touch on my career path to review some of the highlights of the projects that I've led and contributed to. And finally, delve a bit deeper into the recent advances in AI. Specifically, how can these technologies enhance our day-to-day life and our work life? So as I mentioned before, I work for the Applied Artificial Intelligence Institute, which is one of Australia's largest research institutes in the area of AI. We have 130 staff and students that are academic, software engineers, research fellows, and PhD candidates. These are some of the partners we've worked with very closely over many years. And as you can see, they come from very different domains. We work from everyone in healthcare all the way through to defense. So, as I mentioned earlier, and I've been introduced as a product manager, some people seem a bit confused for having a product manager in a university. So what do I do? My position is all about driving research outcomes through the development of proof of concepts and first generation products. The role involves everything you would expect from a product manager. So project management, business analysis, and people management. But being within a university, there is an academic layer that is added on top of this. This means that I'm working with professors across different areas of the university to design experiments that can be used to measure and validate the work we're doing. So just briefly, to get where I am today, this is my 12th year of work. And this slide is nice and got nice round numbers, done 4, 4, and 4. 4 years of business analysis work, 4 years of project management, and 4 years now of product management across different organizations. So I'd like to spend some time with you about discussing some of the projects that I've worked on across my career, which today I'm calling And is Top 8. In no particular order, just in case there's anyone watching from home today. And I'm doing this for a few reasons. Firstly, I'm very proud of the work that I have done over the years and have worked with some very amazing people. And secondly, later on in today's presentation, I'm going to be giving you tangible examples of how the current advancements in AI can significantly enhance our day-to-day lives. Now, you're probably wondering, why do I have a picture of this KSTRC bus on the screen over here? Well, I can hear the laughter in the room, the chuckles. I arrived in Kochi early on Monday morning this week, and I was in the taxi coming from the airport, and I was sitting in the back of the taxi, and suddenly there's a loud horn behind us, a very loud horn actually, flashing lights, and it's 2 a.m. I'm like, what's going on? So I turned around, and there's a very angry bus driver, probably this close away from the back of our car. And now the reason why I mention this is because it introduces me to the first project. It actually reminds me of the first project that I'm going to be talking about today, which is the Malaysian bus tracker. Now, the Malaysian bus tracker was the first large project that I had the opportunity to work on. Now, our involvement in this project was to bring real-time public transport data to the people of Malaysia. Specifically, this was for the local older buses that service rural areas that may go off route and drive very fast and run ahead of schedule, if there was a schedule, I should say. This was in tandem with the research into e-buses. The problem that we had to face was, how could we achieve this in an old bus where we didn't have any diagnostic ports or USB ports? So we used low-cost Android phones to transmit GPS data. Each driver was provided a mobile phone and a battery pack to last the day, and our software aimed to do automatic route detection. That was the AI in the product. So the driver did not need to enter any data into the mobile app when driving. There was also a separate app, which you can see up here, that was given to the end consumer to be able to display the real-time data and learn more about their public transport. Now, my understanding is that this project is now, the outcomes and the research outcomes of this project are used elsewhere in some other cities across Asia. The second project that I'm going to discuss today is Promper. Promper is a staff rostering system for casual employees. It was a project that was ahead of its time. Now, I'm not too sure how the employment process works here, but at home, many staff are employed as casual staff members. This means they are paid a higher hourly rate, but it means they don't get holiday leave or sick leave. Now, these roles also have a higher turnover in staff. Now, where Promper came into play was to help employers source staff at scale without having to pick up a physical phone. So I had to actually put a note here to do this because I think of mobile phone apps by default these days, and calling staff members to email at the roster. It had features to quickly fill timesheets based on rules set up by the organization, and this significantly reduced the time it took to create a roster. Second, it allowed people to look at upcoming shifts and find more work to get paid for work, to get more additional work if they were wanting to pick up more shifts. And this was used for many years across many hospitality venues around Melbourne. Now, over the next few minutes, I'll say 10, 15 minutes, you're going to hear me mention the word dementia a lot. And that is because we've done a lot of work with an organization called Dementia Australia. But before I continue, I just want to get a show of hands. Does anyone here actually know what dementia is? I just want to make sure that before going into tech terms. Excellent. We've got one person, a few. Excellent. So just in case there's anyone here that hasn't heard, so it's a collection of different cognitive impairments that affect the brain. Now, this is most commonly associated with older age and people losing their memory. And we do a lot of work in this space, especially for carers and for family members to support them. Now, one of the most successful projects in this space that we've worked on is a project called Eddie, a virtual reality experience. Now, within the Eddie VR experience, You wake up in the middle of the night in the house and you have to try and find your way to the bathroom. Now, this is not as easy as it sounds. So this is just a screenshot from the scenario. And in the first scenario, we've designed a house that looks like a typical 1960s house in Australia. You can see it has patterned floors, patterned wallpaper, and there's a lot of clutter everywhere. And we use special effects in the experience to try and simulate the symptoms of dementia. Now, within the VR experience as well, there's a stress simulator to try and replicate the person that you're living through's heartbeat. Now, in this first scenario, you're living as Eddie, the person with dementia, and have to find your way to the bathroom. And at the end of the scenario, Eddie can't make it and ends up going to the bathroom in the laundry. And his wife is not very happy about that. Now, in the second scenario, we have a far improved house, which has been made easier to navigate, such as signs, better lighting, and less clutter. So Eddie is now used in training centers across the world. Those were emojis of flags. So Eddie is used in different countries, ranging from the UK all the way through to Japan. Next up is Sophie Hub. In Australia, there are tens and thousands of elderly Australians who live alone. It's not very common to have elderly people live in the family home. This means that if someone has a fall or an accident around the home, it may take days for a family member, to be able to find them. And they may be stuck on the ground for a day or two. And this does happen. Sometimes it even happens in the backyard, and it takes a whole day before someone hears them screaming for help. And this is why we created Sophie Hub. It's an IoT-based system that uses motion sensors, AI, and rule engines to detect anomalies in the house. Now, this is a picture of the hub and the motion sensors over here. So the solution is able to learn patterns as well as use customized rules to detect if something goes wrong and escalate an alert. There is a speaker in the house that talks to the people in the house to check whether they're okay. There were many apps that were built for Sophie Hub as well, for medication reminders and heat alerts. Now, you have to bear in mind that this work here was done years and years before Google Home and before Alexa were even invented and available to the public. We ran trials in the city called Geelong and found that the people who used Sophie Hub tended to be far less lonely. They felt better cared for and better cared for. And we learned many things that people hated about smart homes as well, myself included, which was automated lighting. So is Sophie Hub limited to the elderly? It isn't. And we saw many other areas where it could be used. And I'd like to show you one of these now, specifically with people with an acquired brain injury from car accidents.
When I had the accident, I was going into the supermarket and pulled in at the zero lights too early and got T-boned. Then after the accident, my concentration, my memory was not there.
The technology has helped.
Please remember to take your medication.
We've got about 6,000 clients that we support within the independence division, and about 70%.
When I had the accident, I was going into the supermarket and pulled in at the zero lights too early and got T-boned. Then after the accident, my concentration, my memory was not there.
The technology has helped jobs to gain independence.
Start preparing some lunch.
It tells me to go do a certain thing like take medication, go eat lunch or go do whatever I need to do.
Please remember to take your medication.
We've got about 6,000 clients that we support within the independence division, and about 70% of those people have some form of brain injury. So this has got very wide-ranging benefits for many of our clients. It's all about clients getting their lives back on track.
He's now independent, and with this new technology, I have got peace of mind.
I reckon it will help out anyone who gets the technology. It will help them out 100%.
So as you can see, this is some very high impact work.
When I had the
And Sophie Hub is a university spin-out company that now sells its product on Amazon and through retailers in the US and Australia. So the next project I'm going to talk about is the SunSmart Global UV. Australia has one of the largest, highest rates of skin cancer in the world. So from a young age, we are all taught to wear a hat, wear sunscreen, and wear clothes to cover up from the sun. And if you're at school in Australia and it's lunchtime and you're not wearing a hat, your teachers don't allow you to play outside. And I'm ashamed to be standing here before you today to say that yesterday I did not have sunscreen on me, which is why I'm a little bit red today. Now, we worked on a small project to the Cancer Council to update their mobile app to take their education global. This includes the latest R&D from the Australian Bureau of Meteorology. Now, the app has a large user base in Australia and throughout Europe, but the really impressive thing about this was that the project has been officially endorsed by the United Nations and 4 of its partner organizations, including the World Health Organization. Now, talk with TED. This one here is a really cool project. Many aged care workers in Australia come from abroad, from India, Sri Lanka, and the Philippines, and don't get a long opportunity to practice their skills before they enter the workforce. Now, in collaboration with Dementia Australia, we developed Talk with TED. So TED is an artificial intelligent digital avatar that has the symptoms of dementia. You can talk to TED and he responds just like how someone with dementia would respond. This is an educational experience. So it's the user's job to try and convince TED to have a shower. Now, similar to Eddie, which was the project I mentioned earlier on, it's not as easy as it sounds. Users must apply the best practice communication techniques. And so you can't just force TED to go and to have a shower because he doesn't remember who you are. You have to introduce yourself. You have to build rapport and get to know him so he feels comfortable to go and have a shower with you. So I'll show you just a very short video about how we created TED. Oh, thank you. So TED actively is used by carers around the world, and we also ran a research trial to see how this form of education compares to the historical education delivered to carers. And the outcome of this was quite astounding. There was one cohort of trial participants who didn't use TED and some that had. And what we found was that the cohort that did use TED retained the learning material for a far longer period than the ones who didn't. And the trial that we did was run over many months. The other surprising thing that we found was that many workers that had English as a second language found TED to be a safe place on where they could practice their communication skills. Now, just quickly, we did a big project called Griddle. And when I started this one was called, I thought this one would be a simple project, but it's actually been the most technically challenging project I've ever worked on. It's in Australia, high school students are allowed to pick the subjects they are allowed to study. And it's a timetabler's job, similar to a university, to try and make all of this work. Now, given the number of students, rooms, staffing, this process can take months. So we worked with Compass to develop to develop Riddle, which means that timetables no longer need to have personal, very powerful computers. And it's now used across Australia, Ireland, and the UK. Now, before jumping into the AI component of the talk, I've got one last project to discuss, and that is BrainTrack. So we've talked about dementia a lot today because that's one of my biggest research partners. And we've done a lot of work for the people of the family and carers. Now, BrainTrack is targeted at the people who think their brain behavior is changing. So right now, there are many people there are many apps that have cognitive training games, but we're not aiming to do that. We're aiming to reduce the time between someone detecting a change and going to a doctor to seek a diagnosis. Right now, many people find that the doctors may dismiss them. So we provide them with a report that the doctors can see and to go and seek further assistance from medical specialists. So we've done this through a number of games. Now, BrainTrack was released last October from 3 federal ministers, and we have a 3-year study running. We have 8,000 participants in this study as well. So it's a fairly large study. So we're also working with doctors to determine whether the work that we're doing is meaningful to medical professionals. And we're about 6 months in now, so we're starting to get the first pieces of feedback, which has generally been fairly positive. We've also received people who've gone on to receive a formal diagnosis. So as you can see, the projects that I've worked on have been in education and in health. And now I'm going to move on to the AI component of this presentation. And now I've very consciously added a date to this in case this ends up on YouTube, because this may change next week, or it may change in a few weeks' time from now, or maybe a few months, because the space is moving so fast. I went searching for a quote that tried to resonate with what I'm going to be presenting today. So we'll have a look at this one over here. Artificial intelligence is not the replacement for human intelligence, but a tool for us to leverage our collective knowledge and abilities. This was prepared by ChatGPT. And this is the prompt that I used to generate the quote, because I wanted to have an example that resonated with what I'll be talking about next. So I'm going to start off by talking about some day-to-day tasks with ChatGPT, how they're being used in places in schools, universities, and my own personal life. So I'm going to start with an example of a student that I'm calling Sandeep. Do we have any Sandeeps in the room today? Any high school students that are called Sandeep? No? Yes? It's all good if you're too shy. Sandeep would like to go on a school excursion to Australia, but he needs to justify it to his hardworking parents and reassure them that it won't impact his grades. So he asks ChatGPT for some help. So that's the prompt that I put into ChatGPT, and it actually gave some very good examples of how to talk to your parents about why you should go to Australia to learn about kangaroos. This is a summary of the examples of them here. It gave me many paragraphs, but it was very convincing. If I were to have a child that came to me talking with these points, I'd be a bit worried. Now, let's talk from Priya's example. Priya is a teacher at the school and is Sandeep's teacher. And she has to write Sandeep's student report. He has very good grades, but also has a very wild imagination. So let's cut down the time of writing a student report and say that Sandeep is a great student, but needs to curve his imagination a little bit. And it produced this paragraph over here, which did a very good job. And in terms of time that it took, this was the first example that it produced. I wasn't there typing away for hours trying to create different prompts. I just need to tweak this a little bit if I were to be putting this in a school report. And finally, if I was a university student and I was trying to source some information or for reliable data, I wanted to find some information about about demographic information about all the Indian students who are coming to Australia to learn about kangaroos. I put the question into ChatGPT and it gave me the actual data sources for where to go and search. So I don't have to go through Google results. It took me straight to the data source. Now, how about in my day-to-day life? Let's have a look. I use it for project proposals. I have used it to simplify technical concepts that may be difficult for our business and research partners to understand. I've used it to compare products. I've used it to write very polite emails when I'm a little bit annoyed, and also to help my text when I'm writing to sound a bit more punchy. Now, another example that I've just used it for is actually for a wedding card. So last Friday, I was invited to a wedding, and one thing that I'm really not good at is writing romantic things. So I decided to use ChatGPT to tell it a little bit about the couple that I knew, and I hope they're not watching today. And it was able to give me a very good message that was able to fit within the card that I had. Spectacular. It cut so much time of me worrying about what I had to write, how to make them happy. Now, when talking about ChatGPT, though, I really like creating a metaphor where I compare it to a calculator. Now, this is the type of calculator that we had at school. So just to give you an example, what you can see on the screen there, it's drawn a parabola. Now, let's have a look at the graph and the prompt that I've got there in the response. Does anyone notice anything wrong? All good if not, but can anyone spot anything wrong? RJ's got it. So the function is actually wrong. It should have been the -3. Now, just like this type of calculator here, in order to know what is coming out of it, to know whether it's correct, you have to have understood about what is going into it in the first place. Now, the exact same thing applies to ChatGPT. You can write prompts to it, and you can get a bunch of text back to back. But if you're not knowledgeable about how to analyze what is coming out, then you won't understand. There's no point in using it. So now I'm going to come back to the reason why I spoke initially about all the projects that I was talking about before. Now, I work for the Applied Artificial Intelligence Institute. Big word applied there, because it's all about the tangible work that we do. So let's start with the Malaysian bus tracker project. We spent weeks and weeks manually drawing the bus routes in Malaysia on Google Maps to get the coordinates. A very timely and expensive activity, especially because the data sources that we had weren't reliable and we had to best guess what we were doing. This can now simply be done with prompts, and it can output it into the format that we need it in. Promper, the workforce management tool, can have a far more meaningful search feature. So employers can find the specific staff with the experience and the skills that they need for a job, because it's not all just about hospitality. And on the flip side, we have employees who can find the jobs that they're after in a far better way. Oh, sorry, wrong picture there. Eddie, the VR experience. We spent, I would say, over 6 months creating the 3D assets such as furniture, beds, and chairs to make this possible. We can now create this 3D asset over here in a matter of minutes. We can actually do it in front of the client's eyes. And if they don't like this chair, we can just create another one and keep refining it on the spot. In the SunSmart app, we spent months creating data adapters, databases to store and connect different data sources, and also to create cron jobs to delete the data that we're storing. We're on the cusp of this work being completed in a far shorter period of time. Think of a week, less. Sophie Hub. So in the picture here, this is the hub in the house that has the voice, similar to a Google Home or Alexa. We spend so many hours trying to tailor pick the voice that best fitted the elderly people and the one that they like best. We would need to, in order to create a custom voice, we would need to engage a company that would manually record hours and hours of voice data. This can now be created in a matter of minutes. Talk with Ted. Now, this is the example that absolutely blows my mind. So we spent, I would say, over a year creating the conversation that underpins this tool. 2 weeks ago, we used ChatGPT to try and recreate what we did. And in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes, we were essentially able to do a better job than what we were manually able to do with the underlying conversation than what we were able to do in a year's time. And finally, brain track. Oh, sorry, this is the slide over here that I'm not sure if you're able to see the text, but this is ChatGPT with one prompt that is able to recreate the symptoms of dementia. And finally, brain track. Similar to Talk with TED, it required months of refining the goals and games of the projects that we're working on. Hours and hours of productive and creative meetings with our partners at Dementia Australia. Now I can ask ChatGPT to come up with many examples of games in minutes, and it did a fantastic job with this. Now, the app itself is very pretty. It has some very nice, assets in there. Once again, these also took months to create. But we're able to we're at a point where we can use art generators to significantly cut down the time that it took to create these. Now, on this screen here, it's very small. This is about half of all the screens that are in the mobile phone application. So, if there's one thing that I'd like to summarize on, it's one word, and that is efficiency. In the next few years, the workforce efficiency will significantly increase in a way that I personally haven't seen before, and many people haven't. So to everyone in the audience today, I'd like everyone to keep a few things in mind while these changes are happening. Be creative. While ChatGPT is going to be automating some of the more mundane work we do, the power of this technology lies with the people that have the creative flair and can truly unleash its potential. Next is to prepare to adapt. This technology won't be going away. So to prepare for the landscape to change very quickly, be prepared to adapt to this changing landscape, because it will change very fast. Embrace the technology and spend the time finding ways of how to use it. And if the predictions of how efficient we will become a reality, we're going to be working at a very rapid pace. So we'll become hyper-focused, and the bar of what is considered acceptable quality work will also increase. In addition to this, the expectations to complete certain tasks the time to complete certain tasks will decrease. So if this is the world we're moving towards, please make sure you look after yourself. Make sure that if you have a hobby, such as walking, photography, meditation, take the time to detach yourself from the fast-paced world that we're going to be stepping into. Now, does anyone have any questions? No. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andy, if I may say so, for the stimulating talk. I'm sure many of our students would be inspired from that. I also thank for that reassuring quote that as teachers, we still have our jobs, at least for now. With that, let's turn to some practical applications of artificial intelligence and Chat GPT in our next session, titled Demonstration of AI and Chat GPT Capabilities in Education. A quick introduction about our speaker, Mr. Saiju Aravind. He's the founder and CEO of EduBrisk, and EduBrisk is an integrated and personalized teaching and learning tool founded by IITian and former senior scientist DRDO and naval architect, Mr. Saiju Aravind, with a vision to disrupt the teaching learning process for the K-12 segment. The EduBrisk methodology is holistic in that it includes teachers and parents as well, lending practical solutions to its founder's core belief of the need to understand how to learn before imparting and gaining knowledge, EduBrisk functions on its unique brand purpose of learning to learn, learning to teach inclusively, and learning to mentor, targeted for students, teachers, and parents respectively. I welcome you, sir.
Should I share the screen? Yeah. Namaste, pranam to all the people here. My name is Saiju Aravind. I was a naval officer, Commander Saiju. Retired long time back and joined the Defense Research Development Organization. In 2013, I resigned from there as a senior scientist and became a teacher, a school teacher. So I can relate to many of the teachers here. I became a Montessori teacher in Bangalore to learn about education. It's been a wonderful journey in the last decade. And I must tell you that teaching is going to be the most the attractive job of 21st century. We are going to have the whole teaching ecosystem is going to be redefined. And here we are, just a few months back, we were excited to hear about the Chat GPT. So my first experience, I'll start with my first experience with Chat GPT. I was in the office with our EduBrisk team, and we heard about Chat GPT, and we were working up and we were learning about it nearly a year back. So my brother walked in. He was visiting me. He walked in and asked me, "What are you doing?" So I said, everybody was sitting on the conference table and laughing and enjoying. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "We are working on a tool called Chat GPT." So he asked, "Can you explain to me?" So I'm going to show here what I did. You can look at the screen. So I took a new chat and I asked him what he has been in abroad for many years, and I know that he had a temper, and his wife poor lady had to take the brunt of his go through that temper for many years. I asked him, "Would you like to apologize to your wife?" He said, "Yeah, I would like to." He's a changed man now. He's 58 years old and he's very sober, nice, wonderful gentleman. Asked him, "Would you like to write a letter to her?" She said, "Yeah, but I am not good in writing. I can't apologize like that." So I said, "Okay, apology, a letter." I'll minimize this. A letter of apology to my wife, saying how sorry I am. It's happening now. I am writing this letter to apologize from the bottom of my heart. Oh, enough. Oh. So I understand my actions have caused you pain and disappointment, and I want you to know that I'm truly sorry. I know that. So he read everything. His eyes popped out. He looked at me with so much, emotions. And he said, "Yeah, this is what I want to write." Exactly. I said, "Anything more?" I said, then I added a few things. I said, "I was not considerate to your needs when we were abroad." Oh, sorry. I was not considerate when we were abroad for nearly 2 decades. Oh, okay, okay. Just add to the, I'll regenerate it. So you'll say add a paragraph apologizing for not being considerate to my wife's needs when we were abroad. For 2 decades. That was changed. I am truly sorry that I didn't take time to understand your needs and provide the support that you deserved. I understand now that it's incredibly difficult for you to adjust to a new culture and environment while also taking care of our family. I want to make things right and assure you to have committed being a better partner. I hope you can see can you see? Yeah. But then I asked him, do you have the habit of just apologizing verbally and not living up to it? He said, how about how? He said, I have that problem. Yeah, all of us have. I said, do you want to write a different letter after 1 month? Keep it ready now. So that, after 1 month, you can say, I'm so sorry. I keep apologizing. I don't change. So that was the additional paragraph. Anyway, to cut the, I can write it now, but to cut the story short, after 5 to 10 minutes, my brother had a drop of tear in his eyes. I think he looked at this thing and said, this is the exact letter what I want to write. So today morning, while coming to this session, I got up early in the morning at 5 o'clock. I wanted to see what is, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's vision for education. So here I asked ChatGPT, can you play the role of Narendra Modi ji, Prime Minister? I want to see, can you be Sri Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India? I want to ask some questions. Yes, I can certainly try to simulate the responses of Sri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India. Please go ahead and ask your question. Please let me know your vision. So sometime, as Gopal Krishnan sir mentioned, his vision for education may be in hundreds of pages, thousands of pages, but just in one paragraph. My vision is to build a new India by 2020, which marks the 75th anniversary. It goes on. I envision a country where every citizen has access to basic necessities like food, shelter, healthcare. It goes on. Ultimately, my vision for India is to create a country that is a beacon of hope and inspiration for the rest of the world, one that is committed to peace and prosperity for all. I had this question: is the above response from the Prime Minister's speech, or are you manufacturing something? So the response is yes. The response is based on Prime Minister's speeches and statements regarding his vision for India. However, I have paraphrased and summarized his views to provide an accurate answer to your question. Then I asked, I am a grade 10 student. How can I align with your vision for India? Are there any students below grade 10 here? Or all of you are, okay, grade 8? Below grade 8? Okay, so mostly you're all grade 10 and above. Okay, how many grade 10 students are there? All right. So when I'm pitching this conversation, I think I should pitch it for grade 10 students upward. So please bear with me. Some of the things may be very easy for some of the teachers here, but we will come to more complicated topics like inclusive education, differentiated teaching, and integrated and co-teaching, etc. We'll come to that. Anyway, there was a very nice response from ChatGPT. At the end, I asked, in my school, Chinmaya Vidyalaya, I want to post a poem inspiring the students to be part of nation building. I want the name of my school, Chinmaya Vidyalaya, in the poem. 4-line poem. Sure. Here is a 4-line poem that includes the name of your school, Chinmaya Vidyalaya. Chinmaya Vidyalaya, a place of learning, where young minds grow and hearts are earning, to build a nation strong and true, with vision, courage, and hard work too. I told ChatGPT, awesome, can you make it 8 lines? So you might wonder, if it can write poem, what is my creativity? Our aim is to go beyond. Our aim is to start where the machine is leaving. It's possible. I'm going to come to that. By the end of it, we can discuss how we can go beyond it. Awesome. Can you make it 8 lines? So here came the next reply. Chinmaya Vidyalaya, where knowledge reigns and young minds learn to spread their wings, to soar above the mundane fray and make a difference in their own way. With values that inspire and guide and wisdom that transcend time and tide, we build a nation strong and bright and make our future truly bright. I became more greedy. I said, can you add one stanza to the above poetry which talks about Indian knowledge system and Vedanta? Here it goes. Sure. Here is an additional stanza. Chinmaya, a beacon of light that holds India's knowledge wisdom system with might. Vedanta's wisdom and its timeless truth, inspiring young minds to pursue a path of learning, of service and grace. Does it bring a bell? We all, in all that we do in every place, we build a nation that's great and grand with Chinmaya Vidyalaya's values at hand. It's all 3-minute job. I took 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes actually. You can see the timer in this. It's all happened today morning. Because I didn't get time to prepare, thank God. So I got up at 5 o'clock, and when he asked me for a slide, I said, I don't have, I'll prepare in the morning and send. So why? I don't need. It's so dynamic. And I want to thank the educationists of Chinmaya Vidyalaya for the great job of nation building. Through a poem. So here it goes. I'm writing right now. To the educationist at Chinmaya Vidyalaya, we offer our thanks, our heart full of joy for the knowledge you impart, the values you instill, and the vision you uphold and tireless will. With dedication and passion, you light up our minds and inspire us to leave our comforts behind, to serve our nation with courage and grace, and make a difference in every place. It goes on. It's all happening on the stage. In the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to speak on things, how you could prepare a lesson plan, a differentiated teaching. Oh, I can already see. Yes, in any subject, polynomials, carbon and its compounds, metals and non-metals, the Himalayan ranges, French Revolution, any of the CBSE curriculum topics. It's all possible in a jiffy. So before that, I want to tell how, when we say capabilities of artificial intelligence and ChatGPT in education, we should know what challenges are. What are our challenges? So I'm going to run you through a short presentation which is based on the research done by the EduBrisk team for over a decade. So here is my presentation. And we'll come back to ChatGPT and all other AI tools which can specifically make our job of teaching or our service of teaching, inclusive, which means for not just for a few bright students who are sitting in the front, inclusive for the so-called low achievers, middle achievers, everybody, integrated, not just within the four walls of the classroom with ink on paper, textbook, but connecting to real life applicability, how I can, put to use what I have learned. Inclusive, integrated, and most importantly, individualized. So it's a time of IEP, individualized education programs. It's possible, like in 2013, when I resigned, when I came to Cochin from Visakhapatnam, from Naval Science and Technological Laboratory, one of the person whom Professor Ajay Kapoor knows very well, his name is Sam Santosh. He used to talk about personalized medicine. We have Dr. Ramchand, I think, in the panel today. He's personalized medicine. To give you an example, a MAB, obinutuzumab, or some MABs which are used for cancer or treatment, it costs 3 lakh, 4 lakh rupees per shot. But now if we do a genome sequencing, we can get to know whether that medicine will really work or it's a waste of money. So it's a time of personalized medicine, because genomics and proteomics have advanced a lot. Similarly, it's a time for personalized teaching learning, because AI, ML, and neuroscience and data science has advanced so much. So even when we are addressing to these 100 or 1,000 people, there is a way in which we can use tools to get to each person and see what the profile. It's possible right now, today, in Kerala. Just imagine. So advancement we are at par with the rest of the world in Kerala when it comes to using neuroscience, data science, AI and ML in teaching learning. So this is our challenges. There are many challenges, but the most important challenge for a teacher or a student is this: to ensure that the joy of learning, we call it the dopamine effect. You heard, right? Dopamine effect is while we are learning. See, when we were children, when we got a puzzle to solve, we couldn't go to sleep without solving it. And when we solve it, yes, that feeling, the dopamine effect, that innate desire to learn is there in everybody, everyone, including the so-called indifferent child who is sitting in the back bench with apathy. Ask him, call him aside and ask him, do you like to really learn? He says, yeah, I would like to learn. Who doesn't want to learn? But the challenge is, there are bigger challenges. The real challenge is, okay, I'll come to the instilling appropriate learning skills or learn to learn. Steady performance improvement in the low end of the spectrum, creating high achievers with improved lateral higher order thinking and high rating in benchmark tests and development of 21st century skills, etc. And there is a lot of advanced teaching learning methods which are mentioned in the NEP itself, National Educational Policy, which includes inclusiveness, curriculum mapping, adaptation with TIMSS and PISA test, asset, and so many other tests which are. Then personalization, you can take whatever you want to take picture, you can take, or we can share the slides also, but you can take. A technology inclusion, differentiation, data analytics, triangulation. What is the guarantee that our grade 6 result given in school is actually matching with the international standard or even national standard? It should be only teacher given or school given mark, or can we triangulate it? So all these are possible with the click of a mouse now for a teacher and for a student to see whether I'm topper in my class, but am I meeting the international benchmark? Polynomials when I'm studying, am I equivalent with the students in Finland, Singapore, Shanghai in that level? So it's all possible. I'm going to demonstrate it, if time permits, in this session, how it's all possible. So for a teacher, the biggest challenge is this, to make something very inclusive and, and integrated. And so why it should be integrated? So you might have heard about this, no? Like when I was a child, my teacher used to come and ask me very closely. She'll come near me, and my chemistry teacher, she'll come near me and ask, who acted in Sholay? Who are the actors in Sholay? Amitabh Bachchan and Dharmendra. Who are the actresses? Who is the villain? See, you remember that, but you don't remember my periodic table which I taught you yesterday. This is a standard thing. And as a child, I used to think, yeah, true. I have interest in Sholay, but I don't have interest in periodic table. But the fact of the matter is, if the same Sholay is cut into 100 pieces and shown every day one piece, after 3 or 4 days, I won't remember anything. It is a burden of disintegration that is happening in the brain. We are when we are teaching a particular curriculum, 45 minutes of Fir Panjal range, 45 minutes of French Revolution, followed by 45 minutes of intransitive and transitive verb, which I have not understood even now. And then the polynomial will come, and then the next teacher will teach endoplasmic reticulum. It's all disintegrated. So here, there are systems which can actually stitch things back, like the fabric. All the different piece of knowledge from physics and chemistry and math and English, stitch them into a fabric which you can put on. So this is where these tools we are going to use. So I had this great opportunity to come across this by Professor Yashpal. He said the gravitational load of the books are certainly there. But more painful or pernicious is the burden of non-comprehension which the child has to carry. So these tools, primarily I'm going to say these tools are going to for 3 purposes. One is, can we get the dopamine high? Can we chat and see and why am I not? Can you connect polynomials to a real life today, which I'm doing? Can I do that? Second, so restore the joy of learning, number 1. On the other side of the coin, remove the burden of non-comprehension. And third, most importantly, can it bring a lifestyle change in me? It's called neuroplasticity. You can go and check. Some of these AI and ML tools can bring in neuroplastic changes in you, which means you rewire your brain to look at a thing, analyze a thing, and think about it. Even writing a poetry about your school every day with ChatGPT for 10 days can bring neuroplastic changes in you. Try it out. You look at your school, new ideas will come, new respect will come for the organization and the teachers. It's possible. All you need to do is to do 3 weeks. Some people say neuroplastic changes come in 3 weeks. It's possible. Many of our Ayurvedic treatments and all are based on this concept of neuroplastic changes in the body. All right. So quickly speaking, just to cover a few points in this, when we take a cohort analysis of grade 1 to grade 12, which means one of the students there, when he or she is in grade 1, moved up to grade 2 to grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, 6, take the full class average. This is how, in the beginning, up to first 4 years, everybody is a genius. May not be, because the parents are also behind the mark. But then comes the first drop between 4 and 6. Then comes the second drop between 7 and 9. Now, in 10th, there's a slight mark going up. That's because, again, board exam, extra class, remedial class, tuition class. It is possible. Many people thought it is because children are growing, adolescence, attraction to hormonal issues, and these are the way which many of us taught as teachers. But now it's more or less clear that it is simply because these topics are changing from concrete to abstract. Integers, -1 into -1 is +1. -1 plus -1 is -2. Why? I asked ChatGPT yesterday. I had a long conversation with ChatGPT. ChatGPT struggled to explain to me. Shall I show? If you want to show, maybe you can remind me, I'll show. It's a 15-20 minutes conversation with ChatGPT. He said, finally, ChatGPT said, it's just a sign convention. You just have to study it. It was not agreeing initially, not just sign convention, something more also it said. It's there, recorded conversation is there, so I can show it to you. Second, polynomials. Any of us can explain to a grade 8 or 9 or 10 student polynomial in a way which is tangible. Matrices which we teach in 11th. Application of it is in computer science in degrees. The sad part, the calculus which is required to solve the grade 12 fluid mechanics problem is taught in grade 12. Grade 11 fluid mechanics problem is, anybody, physics teacher, agree with this? The maxima and minima which is required to solve a problem in fluid mechanics in class 11, it comes in class 12. Progression continuity. These are the times when a ChatGPT or an AI/ML tool can actually help a child say that this is not something which is, I'll tell you, connect it. So what happens is when as the class moves up from grade 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we will see that the middle achievers are increasing and then it goes to low achievers. There's a divide in the class. I want to share this with the children here especially. You might think it's a difference in intelligence. I am not so intelligent, but the other person is very intelligent. Need not be. And in 90% cases, it's not the case. Because you'll get to know after a few years from now. When you are doing things. The reason is this. There is due to some reason or other, there's a learning gap that happens from grade 4, 5 especially. And it widens in grade 8, 9 when abstract topics come. Eyes and nose and heart and kidney and all are more tangible, but ribosomes and Golgi body and cell biology may not be tangible. So, if you have lost out on your basics in 7th, 8th, 9th, it looks as if you are not very intelligent. Due to some reason. It is the learning gap which actually makes you think that somebody, or makes us think as teachers that somebody is more intelligent than the other. Can we bridge the learning gap using AI and ML tools? That's what I'm going to show now. So it's possible to simply measure, like when you go to hospital, they do a pinprick and get the blood and say ESR, CD19, ASO titer, all those numbers. Similarly, it's possible to just run a analytics tool and get the measure, and even go to the predictive algorithm, which means a grade 10 student who is coming to class to study electricity, the teacher can tell in advance whether the child will be able to learn or not. I'll show it right now. By running a 5 to 10 minutes diagnostic test. And they can even be, such information can be used to accelerate and bridge gaps. So I would like to show it to you how some of these things work. So can I have 2 students come here? I will not ask you any questions, just to help me, especially somebody who has been using ChatGPT, or if not there, that's also fine. Any 2 students, just for fun's sake. I will not, just to support me. I will not ask you any questions. Or students or anybody, teacher, anybody. It's just to support me. Yeah, please. Great. Give her a big hand because she has been very. Please come on the stage. Come here. So, yeah, great. Do you have another mic? So watch this. It's very interesting. Please come here. No? What's your name? Abia is here and Ephraim. Ephraim. EFRA. EPH. R. Ephraim. Okay, Ephraim and Abia. Okay, Abia. So here you're in which grade? 10th. Oh, both are in 10th. That's good. So you have a chapter in 10th called electricity. Do you see these other subtopics in that? Electricity, electric current and circuit. You're going through. We're very sure. Now they're going to act as a student who maybe if you know, you can say the right answer, but even if you know something, you can give the wrong answer. The idea is, I'm going to show how a system is going to predict what are the learning gaps and things like that. So simply give the answers what that comes to your mind, and if you know some right answers, you intentionally make it wrong. That's also possible, just to see. So here I am giving them, both have come. So, sorry. I'm going to start a diagnostic test. Can you answer this? Coils of heating devices are made up of nichrome. Sure? How about you? Speak aloud, no? Okay, she said one says tungsten, the other says nichrome. What's the audience? Nichrome. Okay, we'll check on nichrome. You're talking to the mic. Huh? You share the mic. A metal cap is dash terminal of an electric cell, and metal disc is dash terminal.
The metal cap is the positive and the metal disc is the negative.
Okay. When a glass rod is rubbed with a piece of silk cloth, the charge acquired by the silk rod and a glass rod and silk cloth are
both acquire positive charge.
Sorry?
Both acquire positive charge.
Both acquire positive charge. Okay. 1 by A plus 1 by B is equal to 1 by C. Then find B. It's a physics test, no? Why this math should be asked? Because why 1 by A plus 1 by B? So many maths could have been asked. Because it's resistors connected in parallel, you need to know this math to actually do the physics. So when somebody says he's weak in physics or weak in math, or weak in physics, it may not be physics at all, which is option D. The option is D. I'm going to make an intentional mistake. Make it because then only these benefits of this system can be understood. A thin wire which glows when an electric current passes through it is, sorry, filament. Okay, very simple. Okay, I'm going to give again a wrong answer. And the idea is here, if you look at it, a system is actually profiling Abia, finding out the system is not checking her for any knowledge in grade 10 electricity. It's only checking the prerequisite knowledge to study this chapter electricity. And where does it come from? Grade 6, 7, 8, 9. Heating effect of electric current, chemical effect of electric current, electric circuits, and magnetic effect. And also grade 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What are the math required? Fractions, LCM, then linear solving linear equations, and so many things which are required for this chapter. Just to save time, thank you, just be here. I'm just submitting the test. Please ignore the other questions. We have only attempted 5 questions, okay? Submitting the test. The system has told 6, attempted 6, correct 3, wrong 3. But here for the teachers, the system can give the Bloom's taxonomy of it in no time. Whether the issue is with remembering, understanding, application, whether it's the difficulty levels, and for the child, here, when the glass rod is rubbed with a piece of silk, what is the charge? We went wrong in that. It is ideally, sorry. Yeah, so went wrong, but see what happens here. When I am selecting this question, what was the answer which he gave? Both positive, but this actually positive and negative. The reason is here. This comes from which grade? Which grade? Grade 6 and 7. But imagine the system tracks his thing, learn the concept, it takes him to the grade 7 textbook of CBSE NCERT. All done pre-teaching, which means he can learn this concept before coming to class because that is a prerequisite. So when I am as good as the topper in the class, when my prerequisites are in place, you know what will happen? It's in neuroscience, it's called PEGS, which means I can learn at the speed of hearing. You've seen that? It happened? You've seen that? I can demonstrate it maybe. Should I, sir, demonstrate it? How somebody can hear at this, learn at the speed of hearing? You have a paper and pen? Can any of them give a paper and pen? We are going how AI and ML. Now I will show how AI and ML uses this. Just see here. What happens when he comes back to the chapter to learn this topic is that the system will auto-populate all the topics required in electricity from previous grades, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And not only that, all the cross-curricular math requirement, which you said, solving of linear equation, percentage change, graph, unitary method, transposing, proportional quantities. Why? Because Ohm's law is taught. So voltage is proportional to current. These sort of systems can predict and say what sort of cross-curricular dependency is there to teach that. So why not we use these tools to actually bridge the learning? So can just do one thing. You write give me that mic. You write a number between 1 and 50 there, fast. Can I have a book? And tell her the number. Yeah, show it. Yeah, write it. Tell an object that comes to your mind. And any item, random item. Any item, just don't think like this. Just whatever. And you tell. No, you tell him. Okay, yes. Write 15 AC. 15 is AC. AC air conditioning. Just tell him. This is yeah, just keep doing this again, fast. Another number, another item you say. So what happens here, I would like to show you that as these tools, it will auto-populate these and also give the content to the student in their preferred modality. If a student is more interested in understanding through summary maps or visually, cartographically, or somebody remembers by personalizing, All these are possible in the system AI with the latest tools. And once these learning gaps are bridged, what will happen is that a student will behave as like any other intelligent, so-called intelligent children. So, ideal use of AI and ML technology is to help students to bridge the learning gaps which accrues over a period of time. Make it homogenized, make the class homogenized. Second is to make it fun. So because of paucity of time, I'm not showing. You can actually ask ChatGPT or these AI tools, how can I make remembering cell organelles fun? So you know what one of the answers the system gave? Golgi body and ribosomes. Is it easy to remember, all of you, its functions and all? The system game is just consider your school here. This is a school. What is protecting the school? Louder. What is protecting the school? What is there around the school? What is in cell? The cell wall. What is the principal's rule? Nucleus. Where decisions are made. Where is the main powerhouse? The main switchboard, mitochondria. What is the toilet? Lysosome, breaking down, lysosome. And what is the canteen? Ribosome. And what are the ladies and the gents serving food for you there? Golgi apparatus. And all the roads inside is endoplasmic reticulum. The water tank on top is the vacuole. Can any of you go to toilet without remembering lysosomes now? AI-based tools suggesting personalizing understanding of a cell organelle with respect to your surrounding here. Yeah, it's enough. So they have written a lot of things here, and I'm just taking a look at it, okay? You read out one by one. So 15 is, okay. 15 is air conditioner and 1 minute. I'll go through it once and What is written here? Tile. And what is this? Mic. Huh? Mic. And 13. Okay. So he has written 15 is air conditioner, 30 is pen, 45 is book, 10 is tiles, 11 is identity card, 25 is hair, 17 is napkin, 21 is light, 20 is plant, 8 is chair, 19 is mic, and 39 is road. Now take it there and ask any number from it, from first few numbers up till road. Any number randomly you ask.
20.
20 is plant.
8.
8 is chair.
25.
25 is air conditioner. Hair.
17.
17 is napkin.
21.
21 is light.
20.
20 is plant.
45.
45 is books.
30.
Huh?
30.
30 is pen.
15.
15 is air conditioner. The reason is, it's not magic. It is because when the prerequisite is known, I attach any information to that, I will not forget. It's a standard technique used by memory experts. The reason I want to show to you is, If you don't, if your prerequisite not in place, you when the teacher speaks, you may not be able to connect and integrate. And that is what these AI tools will help you. Prerequisite in place, help you to integrate this knowledge with real life, cross-curricular connections, sports, arts, etc. Thank you very much. I'm done. Yeah. So, okay. Any question? Before I go, before they are there, 5 minutes I have. I thought I don't have 5 minutes. I'm glad. Before I go, I want to tell you there are things which ChatGPT cannot do, which you can do. Nice? I'll show you right now. So I've been playing a game with ChatGPT from yesterday. Come near, both of you. The game is simple. You can say a number between 1 and 10, or 1 or 10. It has to be integer. That means you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 10. I will add a number to it. 1 or 10 or any integer between that. And keep adding and say who will come, say 100 first. Is it okay? You want to start or I should start? You'll start. Okay, give the phone to her. Okay.
5.
5, 15. Added 10 and 15.
Okay, 25.
35.
45.
55.
65.
65.
85.
89.
71. Sorry, 91.
100. I said 100.
Okay.
You want to try again?
Okay.
Okay, both of you can, yeah. Try again.
4.
So,
4.
14,
15.
25,
26.
36,
38.
48,
58.
68.
100.
No, you can add maximum 100 of 10.
Okay.
Minimum you have to add 1. Yeah.
Okay, so you said
68,
71.
78,
88.
89.
91.
100. So, what is the secret of winning this game? To say? So, I've been playing this game with ChatGPT, asking whether it can pick up the algorithm. So, this here is the. Please see this. Adding game. So I tried to train this a lot. You'll see a lot are there. I wanted to see whether, can we get the rules are the game starts with, I tried to teach it. Went on playing, still it couldn't win this. So I asked, why don't you generate the algorithm for it? So he said, I am an artificial intelligence trained bot. So I have my limitations and kind of it went off. But actually, I'll tell you, you can crack this in another 2-3 minutes time. Because if I play this game 2-3 times, you'll crack it. You won't try it? Try it. She's determined. I can see that. Just turn around and show your face to them. She's so determined. Yeah, try.
8.
Oh, you understood what's her aim? What's her aim? Okay, 18. She'll tell her aim. 18.
20.
30.
40.
50.
60.
70.
80.
89.
93.
100. Okay, you can go back and play it with ChatGPT. That's the exercise for you. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a very engaging session. It's a mixed feeling right now. So as a wife, I'll be super impressed if my husband can write an impeccable letter in that language like that. But as an English teacher, at the same time, I'll be a little more skeptical. I mean, that was something that he owed me to correct his grammar. Now that's gone. So what do I do? And as a parent, I think I'll be more relaxed. I think my life would be a little more easier. So with those feelings and whatever we have heard so far, I think we'll take a little time to soak it all in. We'll take a quick refreshment break and be back. So I request everyone to assemble back by 11:40. I think that should be a safe time so that we can continue learning and knowing more. Refreshments will be served outside the auditorium. Thank you so much. One more announcement. Teachers get the privilege of having the refreshment inside the auditorium. So please be seated. Students, I request you to please move out and have the refreshments and be back. Huh? Yeah, the corners of the auditorium, you'll find the refreshments. So you'll have to get up and move till there, it seems. Okay, that's it. That's the final announcement. Thanks. going on based on the first 2 sessions in the morning. There's lots more coming on the way. So let's proceed with that. Carrying on with our seminar. Our next session will see various eminent speakers talking about different aspects of opportunities for students in the artificial intelligence, Chat GPT world, and the role of educators. Coming first is a wide view perspective on that, provided by Professor Ajay Kapoor, Vice Chancellor of CVV. Professor Ajay Kapoor is a highly accomplished academician with degrees from IIT, BHU, and Cambridge University. He has authored over 325 papers and reports, published many books, holds several patents, and received various awards. Professor Kapoor has held senior appointments at Newcastle University, the University of Sheffield, the Leicester University in the UK, and he has been on the Swindon University Council Australia. We welcome you, sir, and would love to listen from you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Saiju. What wonderful presentations. And not only that they gave a wonderful status of what is happening, but in fact, very interactive and very approachable, very easy to understand. So well done. I have the task of now looking through a very wide angle lens at the landscape. So let me show you my first slide. So there are a couple of things we have to remember. What we have to look at is that the first one, can I get rid of this? Yeah. As an educator, we have to look after parents. When the child is young, the guardianship belongs to the parents or the guardian. So what is child going to do is what is in parents' mind. If you ask parents, they will give you many answers, but ultimately, if you look at a successful, happy, fulfilling life, a continuous long-term life, that is what parents will like. You ask a child. As a vice chancellor, I do that very, very, very regularly. What is child looking for? Child is looking for either getting a job. Some will have a very clear-cut notion of what kind of job, which company, which country, what salary level, they know that. Some don't, and that's okay as well, but they want to get into a job. Some will like to get into higher education, later on to go into education or research or into getting a job again. That's fine as well. Some of them will say, I want to start a company, start a business, or they may have a business, a family business, and they'll like to go back and run that business. Or some may take a leadership role, and I'm trying to define leadership in a very, very wide, generic way. They can become a musician, a dancer, performing artist, a painter, a sculptor, a thought leader, a politician, anything, a sports person. They can pick up any of those roles. As an educator, we have to ensure that we find out what the child's strengths are. Some know. Some children don't even know what their strengths are. And Saiju's presentation was showing that when Saiju, you got asked by your teacher, Shole's actors and actresses you remembered, but not the periodic table. So as a child, you have some clear-cut interest in that area. So that side of brain we have to investigate. My natural inclination, my natural wiring of the brain can actually pick up those kind of bits of information easily and remember them easily. Others forget. I do that all the time. Random facts I can remember, simple names I cannot. What do I do with that? So those kind of things. So we have as an educator to find out those hidden talents of the child as well, and then align them with their passion. Work is always hard. My grandfather used to moan, my father used to moan, I am moaning, my children will moan. Work always will be hard, and you have to work harder than others anyway. So if it is an area which you are passionate about, it never becomes work. And then it has to be aligned with societal needs so that somebody finds that work useful. If they find it useful, whether they pay you for that or not, at least you feel very appreciated. So it is also needed. So those are the kind of things we have to look into. The other long-term, happy, successful, purposeful life, future will keep changing. Andy told us, I have put a date of today so that in a month's time, or sometimes very worryingly in a week's time, a new version of Chat GPT does not come and change the paradigm yet again. So technology will keep on changing and it will keep on, pace will keep on accelerating. So let me, can you please change the slide? Let me take you on this very short history of development. I'm not covering a very long time, but still it covers something like about, let's say, previous 20,000, 30,000 years. Very early on, humans were living at hunter-gatherers. So very small number of people, couple of millions, and living in caves of very simple huts and things like that. No organized society, no organized economy. And the only job was to get some food. You go, if you're living in Kerala, you go pluck a couple of bananas, coconuts, that's your food. If you are non-vegetarian, go and find an animal that you can bring home. The strength of body meant everything. You have to outrun an animal, catch it, or sometimes if an elephant chases you in Kerala, you have to run faster than that. So both alertness, agility were needed. Only strengths you needed to survive in that world. Okay, let's fast forward to agrarian economy. Agriculture came. You needed strength, you needed your agility, your quick reactions, because much chances are still, but you needed to be organized. You needed to know what time to sow a seed, wait for 3 months, and then reap it. That kind of organizational skill was also needed. Fast forward it, and then you come into the industrial economy. Industrial economy now puts very, very different demands. Now you have to be able to conceive and design a machine. You have to operate and maintain that machine. And then you have to work with that machine. And you find that the countries who could take advantage of that, mostly Europe, did extremely well. If you see the plot of world GDP, you find that India was contributing 30% of GDP from year, let's say 0 to 1000, and then suddenly it got squeezed to literally about a few percent till about 100 years back and 50 years back. It's increasing now. So we lost that particular revolution, industrial. Fast forward a bit more, and you come to information age. Information age, all machineries are there, but now you can process information. So being able to design a laptop, a desktop, a mobile phone, other gizmos, operate them, design their software, make them connected together, all that stuff. Last 50, 60 years, that has changed the world totally now. So if I look at some very, very simple, fundamental changes that are taking place, which have taken place, use them to predict what will happen now when the new technology comes, then they can be summarized like this. You see that in the first 15,000 years or so, or before that, the manpower, the woman power, the human strength got replaced by pet animals. Humans started to use bulls and horses for the power that they used to apply themselves. Then machines came. You did not need a horse to go from here to, let's say, Tripunithra. You can get a car or a motorcycle or a simple cycle. Or you can take a plane and he can come here, give a talk. If it was that time, he would never be able to walk up to here, and there's so much water to swim anyway. So that is getting changed. The biggest change in last 50, 60, 70 years is that the human brain power is also getting replaced. So body and now mind. What are we doing? What did we do? We stored information as we store memory. It was very cumbersome to recall it. I remember using mainframe systems a long time back in BHU and even in Cambridge. You have to submit your job. It takes forever to give you the solutions. It is now within your pocket. Memory, not much needed. Yes, if you need a recall immediately, it's okay. Otherwise, you can type something in Google, all information is there. The cognition part, the second level, if I have that, am I just a parrot? Or am I somebody who can understand it also? A fair amount of cognition, whether ChatGPT or artificial intelligence understands it or without understanding, puts it together, it is doing it. It will give you something which makes sense. So that is happening. So that's a very big change. So body, they found machines. Brain, stuff is coming. The problem now is that the same ChatGPT can work on the next version of ChatGPT, and that can work on another. So if you keep on giving it 50% performance improvement, very soon it will come to that point which they call singularity, when the brain is about 1,000,000 times more powerful than the human brain. Now, when that happens, a different issue altogether, but we have to then find our path through that and say, how can a child still contribute so that they have a meaningful living, a good future? So those are some of the questions. I don't think we can answer them in one sitting, but for all of us to think about, and especially more for parents and educators. So to me, these are some of the opportunities. What I'm doing is that there's one area where people with hardcore skills in technology, data sciences, machine learning, AI, app development will have to work and develop better and better versions of this kind of artificial intelligence and bots. One area. What is needed? Deep technical skills, deep mathematical, statistical skills and all that. Okay, so if the students are keen to go in that direction, those are areas to pick up. Salaries are unbelievably high, unbelievably high. You cannot imagine. If you're good in that kind of programming, anything you demand, somebody will give you that. Companies have been acquired for billions of dollars, not because the IP, because they had 100 people in AI. Second thing is that can you use this technology to develop new businesses? A lot of examples. I'm showing you there. WhatsApp is there, Twitter is there, Facebook is there, Instagram. All of them are free. And people are making money out of it. People have set up businesses that become influencers and making money out of it. So that requires creative thinking, entrepreneurial skills. And then using AI and Chat GPT for teaching. To me, a very simple way of doing this would be either the student is now an adversary who you examine, or work with the student, so that that skill which ChatGPT can do is not worth bothering, investigating or examining, but what else which ChatGPT cannot do. So that co-creation of learning, that co-creation of examination is what is needed. A lot of trial and error will be needed, because we don't know where ChatGPT will stop. So we will have to continuously evolve with that. And then betterment of society. I think that is where it has got incredible potential. I'm showing you some of these United Nations sustainable goals. I won't go into much details, but a lot of people, still about nearly 6 billion people need basic training. Can we use ChatGPT for training people in poor parts of India, Africa, and other countries, a lot of other things. So I'll stop here and thank everybody. Thank you, Hari Om.
Thank you, Ajay-ji. Next is a series of short talks by industry leaders on the skills required for AI and the Chat GPT world. First up, I would like to invite Mr. Jagdish Murjani. He is a promoter and board member of CTS Tech, a leading provider of healthcare technology services. He holds a bachelor's degree in engineering from IIT Bombay
a master's degree in engineering from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and an LLB from Mumbai University. He also serves as a trustee of the Central Chinmaya Mission Trust and as a member of the Board of Management of Chinmaya International Residential School. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, so at the outset, just as my slides are coming up, I'll take a minute to thank CVV for inviting me to share my thoughts today. And I want to thank all of the presenters who presented before me, who made really engaging presentations on what ChatGPT was about and how it can be used in the area of education. Is there someone who's going to bring my slides up?
Yes, sir. Yes, we'll be displaying them.
Okay.
Two minutes. It's coming up.
Sure.
And it's there. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we can actually go. I have only a couple of slides, and the slides really focus on opportunities for students when it comes to ChatGPT, which, as all of us know, is a new technology which has taken the world by storm. And all of us are fascinated with how it works and what kind of capabilities it brings for all of us to use in the course of our personal and professional lives. So we can actually go to the next slide. Yeah. So I have, like I said, only a couple of slides. The first slide essentially deals with how ChatGPT can be used by all students. And what I wanted to mention here is that for those folks who are seeing ChatGPT for the first time in the course of the presentation or the seminar today, what we have seen can be quite overwhelming. And as far as all students are concerned, I think the key thing for us to keep in mind is that ChatGPT is a tool. And it's a tool which allows us to do more, to work faster, to work more efficiently. And as we use that tool, we really don't need to know how that tool is internally working. It's a tool which is available to us. Previously, we relied on search engines. We will continue to do that as ChatGPT becomes more and more prevalent. And as long as we are familiar with the capabilities of the tool and we know how to use that tool in our journey as students, I think that would be good enough for several students. So what ChatGPT does is it provides you with access to vast amounts of information. You can ask questions that are iterative. You can carry out deep dives. So you almost have a learning partner who you can work with in your journey of learning. As you learn, you often find the need for study plans. You might find the need for sample tests. You might want your learning partner to actually suggest reading material to you. And ChatGPT, as you start to use it, has the ability to do all of that. And it is getting better with every passing day. In specific areas, for example, if you look at folks who want to learn a new language, then by using ChatGPT, you again have a partner with whom you can actually practice written communication in the language that you are looking to learn. ChatGPT can provide you with translations. It can suggest vocabulary. So again, it can be a terrific way to pick up a new language. And ChatGPT is not restricted to English. It is available in a variety of languages, and therefore it can help you to learn different languages. We saw some examples that were shared by previous presenters when they described how you can give ChatGPT a limited amount of input and how it can review your text. It can make suggestions. It can enhance the quality of your writing, and it can just help you come up with writing, which is a lot more creative. So if you look at the little bit of text, which I have put in the gray text box at the bottom of the slide, this is actually language that ChatGPT suggested back to me when I asked ChatGPT to describe how it can essentially work as a partner for students in their journey of learning. And you will see what a beautiful sentence or a couple of sentences it has suggested back to me, which are the sentences that I have pasted here at the bottom of the slide. So whether one is a student of commerce, of psychology, of education, of any pure science, any discipline whatsoever, ChatGPT can be a terrific partner to kind of use in a manner which is ethical and use it in a manner where it really helps you in your learning journey. And it becomes a tool along with all of the other tools that you have. Incidentally, for students, if you go and ask ChatGPT that, hey, can you substitute my teacher? ChatGPT will come and tell you no. And it will also give you very, very sensible reasons about why it can never, ever be a substitute for teachers and how it is a tool that can be used in conjunction with all of the other tools and opportunities that we have available as students in our learning process. So with that, we can go to the next slide. This is a slide which really focuses on students who are students of data science. So now these are students who might want to understand how ChatGPT really works under the hood, who might want to understand how this really fascinating branch of data science and machine learning, which is the entire branch of conversational artificial intelligence, is developing. How can one kind of, start to build a career in this space? And for students who are interested in that, you could start by developing an understanding of natural language processing and deep learning, because these are topics which will essentially form the foundation. And these are topics which are going to become increasingly important as conversational AI becomes even more mainstream. Once you've developed the foundation, then you can actually go deeper into all of the underlying AI technologies. You can understand the different types of networks, neural networks, which are actually used for the purposes of building these AI technologies. You can learn about how text pre-processing and how text processing actually works and what the underlying machine learning models are, which allow this magic to happen in front of our eyes as we use these tools. I think tracking real-world developments is also very important. There is an immense amount of online knowledge which is available. So you can use that to develop your proficiencies. You can track open source projects, and you can build simple projects of your own. You will find that conversational AI is getting embedded into more and more other applications. For example, Microsoft has embedded conversational AI into Office 365 through what they called as Microsoft Viva. And it will create really, really interesting opportunities for students who are interested in pursuing careers in data science. So with that, we can go to the next slide. So this is the last slide which I have. And this slide focuses on opportunities for students in computer science, in computer engineering, and students who may study other disciplines of engineering as a precursor to carrying out software development. So ChatGPT is now starting to get used as a tool for software development. It is being used for debugging. It is being used for troubleshooting, for checking syntax, for making suggestions related to code optimization. And looking at everything which is happening now, which are very early days for ChatGPT, it will be really fascinating to see how powerful ChatGPT becomes as a tool for software developers to use in the course of their own software development. For those of you who are pursuing software development, ChatGPT can again be an amazing partner to learn new programming languages. You can learn new frameworks. You can learn new libraries. You can ask it questions. You can actually ask it to review your code. It can help you, locate and understand technical documentation. And then in addition to kind of just helping you learn languages and use it as a tool for software development, you will find that ChatGPT is getting integrated with other software applications, like I mentioned on the previous slide as well. But as it is getting integrated into other software applications, as a software developer, it will be very useful to know how that integration happens. There are application programming interfaces or APIs which are provided by ChatGPT itself. And we will find it to be used in chatbots for virtual assistants, customer service. So this journey of ChatGPT being used by software developers has just started. And as I said, it will be really, really interesting to see how this takes shape in the days, months, and years to come. So overall, for all students, be it students of computer engineering or any other discipline of engineering, be it students of data science, or be it students who are simply interested in using ChatGPT in their education, which may have nothing to do in computer science, it can be a very, very interesting ally and partner to use in your learning journey. So that's all I wanted to actually share with you today. And with that, I'll hand it back to the presenter.
Thank you so much, sir, for that short and informative session. Up next, we will be listening to Mr. Subramanian Chidambaram. He is the Strategy Director at Cummins India. He is responsible for identifying and driving strategic opportunities to achieve the company's vision with a focus on the Destination Zero strategy for zero carbon emissions. He has over a decade of experience in strategy, operations, and sales and marketing, having worked at McKinsey and Siemens Management Consulting. He holds a postgraduate diploma in management from IIM Lucknow, a master's degree in Sanskrit specialized in Vedanta. He is currently pursuing his PhD in Indic Perspective on Leadership from Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth and is a visiting faculty of Vedanta and Puranas at the University of Mumbai. Let's listen to him. So we can see you. If you could speak.
Yeah. Are you able to hear me well?
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Hari Om to all. Namaste to all students, teachers, and media colleagues who are present there. I very much wanted to be part of this gathering in person, but unfortunately couldn't make it. I thank the leadership and the management of CVV for this opportunity. I'll keep my my thoughts very brief. So I think we had a wonderful session up till now from the morning, where we learned a lot about the technical aspects of ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. Now I'm going to share some thoughts with all of you from an entirely different perspective, from the business side of things. There's always, I understand that with the emergence of artificial intelligence, and especially in the last few months around ChatGPT, there's a lot of anxiety amongst people, amongst students, amongst different classes of people as to really see if this is really an opportunity or is it really a threat. And is it going to take away jobs that we are traditionally used to doing? So what is really the future going to look like? So I'm going to present from the business perspective of things as to how I, from a business side, would view something like ChatGPT or something like the future innovations in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Let's all understand that at the end of the day, the reason a business is existing, an organization is existing in the society, is because it is fulfilling a need for the society. It is fulfilling a need for the people of the society. That's the very reason, the purpose for which that organization or the institute is existing. In doing so, it has got a lot of activities that it needs to do. For example, if you have to use a particular product, gets manufactured, it gets designed, it gets manufactured, the various raw materials are supplied to it, it gets packaged, it goes to your various sales centers, and then you are able to buy it. So there is an entire value chain. Now, all these activities across this value chain have evolved over a period of time. As and when the human intelligence has found better ways, better alternatives, more efficient means of doing it, it's become better and better. And technology has been a disruptor, and a positive disruptor in the sense that every time there has been a great technology that has come to the fore, it's led to a step breakthrough or a step change in the way businesses operated, in the way organizations have been, in the way value chains have changed. So the way I see artificial intelligence or machine learning, I see them as a great opportunity for business, a great opportunity for optimization and bringing in more and more efficiency and value to the society. The reason I say this is, for example, let me take an example of manufacturing and supply chain. With artificial intelligence and with machine learning, we have been able, there are so many examples of businesses that you can see from case studies, which have been able to optimize the amount of material that goes into the manufacturing of a particular product, just using the right amount of material, using the most cost-effective material, designing it the most appropriate way. some of you students must go and visit some of the factories, some of the four most modern factories, where the workers who are on the shop floor, they use virtual reality. They use concepts like digital twin, where they are able to see the product virtually and they are assembling the product. Various testings on the products are done using the digital twin, so that you are not doing a testing on a real product to start with, you are doing testing on a virtual product, so that you know what are the pitfalls or what challenges you face, and then you translate it, you rectify things, and then you bring it to the real product. So all these have helped in us achieving better efficiency of our processes, better productivity of our people. For sure, manual labor has become more and more it has been taken over by machines, but that just means that the labor part is being replaced by machines. What we need to understand is that the human potential is much, much bigger. If you're using the human potential to do iterative jobs, to use jobs that don't require too much of thinking, don't require too much of intelligence, it is just repetitive work. In many cases, you are actually underusing the potential of the human. You're actually underusing the potential of the manpower you have. What machines, machine learning, artificial intelligence, automation, digitalization, all these have done is that they have said that we can take over that part, which then makes you think, what do I use the manpower for? And that is where you start exploring different potentials of that manpower to really value add into the whole process. So it has moved us from thinking about using humans or manpower as repetitive labor from a thought machine or a thinking machine. So now we give more and more importance to our thoughts, to our rationale, to our logic, rather than just for physical manual labor. That is what machine learning and artificial intelligence has done. In terms of products, there are so many products that are being sold in the market. Many of these products, we refer to them as dumb products. Dumb products means they might have all the electronics and sensors, but nothing can be done with all that. What is required is that the product has to be made intelligent. That is, there is some connectivity, that some data is extracted from that product. It makes it accessible to a particular cloud or a set of information, and that information is analyzed and given back to the customer and told that your product is running at 50% efficiency. Why don't you do XYZ? So this is what your artificial intelligence, your automation and digitalization has done, that it has given more and more opportunities for extracting value for the end customers, for extracting value for businesses and organizations, and answering the question of so what. So what is a very big and pertinent question we don't ask most times. We do some activity, but we never ask, so what? What is it that really this activity is going to give? And all these technology developments have forced us to think on so what, because that is something that we as the human potential have to bring to the table and not the machines. I remember an example from my past experiences where we were creating an order tracking system in our factory. It was a tool that had to track a particular sales order, a particular customer order, right from the time it was acquired till the time it was dispatched to the customer. We were doing it completely manually in the factory. And the files were moving from table to table, right? And it used to go through a complete manual process. And we were wondering, why is this not automated? We started the automation journey, and you'll be surprised, for those people who haven't worked in corporates will be surprised to know that designing the entire automation tool and updating it with all the required information probably took 30% or 40% of the time and effort in the whole project. And the 50% to 60% effort was in convincing the people to use the tool, was in making them accept the change. and start using the tool. Why was this a problem? This is what in typical management theory you would call as change management and resistance to change. Why is this the case? Because they feel that this, if it goes away to automation, their power goes away. Their security of job goes away, because this is what they were known to do. Now that is being done by a machine or by a tool. So now what will they do? What will they be recognized for? So it stems from a place of insecurity, which stems from a place of lack of skills, because you are not skilled enough.
Hello. So I'm sorry to interrupt. Could you please wrap up the session in another minute so that we can stick to the schedule?
Yes, sure. So the reason, the entire point that I'm trying to make is that technology is always a great opportunity. It is a great support. We must use our intelligence and use it the right way. And if you do it the right way, it will help you build more capabilities and more skills so that you are able to better utilize them. So I would end with the message that technology, be it AI, Chat GPT, all of that are all great tools and opportunities, and we must learn to leverage them. That's all. Thanks a lot. Hari Om.
Thank you so much, sir. Our next speaker is Mr. C.N. Ramchand. He is the CEO of Theragan Molecular Innovations Private Limited, a biotech startup in Chennai. He's also a co-founder and CSO of Mac Genome Labs Private Limited in Chennai and Cochin, and an advisor to several other companies. With a PhD in biochemistry from MS University, Baroda, he has over 25 years of experience in teaching basic research and drug discovery programs. He's an honorary visiting professor to the European Nanotechnology Consortium at the University of Newcastle, UK, and an adjunct visiting professor and PhD guide at Swinburne University of Technology, Australia. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, everybody. I'm especially thankful to Professor Ajay Kapoor and Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth for this invitation to give a small talk on artificial intelligence and special reference to healthcare and diagnostic aspects. And I'm sure that all of you know about artificial intelligence. We have been hearing from 1950s onwards. Recently, artificial intelligence has been found significant application in the field of drug discovery. Now, I've been involved in drug discovery for quite some time, and rational drug design and development was happening in the last 40-50 years, and last 20-25 years, a lot of things are happening in the drug discovery area. For example, when during drug discovery, thousands and thousands of compounds has to be synthesized, and it is very difficult to go through all the toxicity studies. Now, an algorithm has been made and understood very well what type of structures give a toxicity. That is one thing. The other thing is that what type of structures will be able to transport, what type of drugs can be metabolized or binding to protein or excreted. All these can be done using artificial intelligence now. So that's it. Whether it is biologics or NC research, it has come a big way, the role of artificial intelligence in drug discovery. The other thing is that, normally in drug discovery, thousands and thousands of compounds has to be synthesized and to be screened. To do in vitro or in the lab, it is very complex procedure. On the other hand, after the emergence of artificial intelligence using various algorithms and the structural biology has come out, it has become very easy for screening molecules in silico. So these are some of the things which can be used in drugs and biologic discovery. Now let's go to some examples where artificial intelligence can be used in diagnosis certain diseases. One such example is age-related macular degeneration. Age-related macular degeneration or wet AMD or even dry AMD is a disease which affects the retina. Now, classically, there are, in order to detect this one, you will have to use, optical coherence tomography. That is one of the ways by which this can be detected. Or fundus photography. So these are the two methods. Now, what people are doing is that, all these, millions of photography can be taken, and these photography can be digitized. And then what you do is that, there is a correlation established between the disease and digitized images. Once you have this algorithm and any new patients now come, they can very easily detect, and lot of information can come from these type of algorithms. So all of you know that, diabetes is a chronic condition and which has been affected almost a very large number of people, especially adult population. Extremely high number gets diabetes. Overall, about 10 to 15% of the people in their lifetime get diabetes, and there is a lot of complication associated with diabetes is there. If this can be detected very early, it is a great thing. And if you really see, from 600 BC onwards, people have been trying. Earlier method was that, how the urine is attracted by ants. That was the early method. And until about 80 years back, there was nothing. Then there is a acid hydrolysis method came. Then Fehling solutions have come. Then Benedict solutions have come. These are the main, it's the colorimetric method where urine glucose can be detected. Subsequent to that, the method has come where extremely small quantity of blood is sufficient to detect, the colorimetric method. Then enzymatic method like glucose oxidase, peroxidase methods have come. Then there is the sensors have come. Various sensors using strips have come. So these are the advancements. Now there is also a very good method which has come, that glycosylated hemoglobin. Now imagine an artificial intelligence can detect at an early stage using the genome of the person, and it will be a great thing. And that is something which is coming up very recently. You will be able to scan the persons, whether it is the genome or whether it is their skin or retina, will be able to predict whether the person can get a diabetes or not. You don't have to see the phenotype of the person. The use of artificial intelligence to enhance various diagnostics or analytical method has gained wider popularity over time. An example I will tell is about Raman spectroscopy and how Raman spectroscopy can be used, which is probably people are studying. Raman spectroscopy is one which that, visible radiation, which is somewhere between 300 and 700 nanometers are used. Now, electromagnetic radiation mainly consists of photons. These photons can interact with the various structures. Now, either these photons can impart energy to the structures, and outcoming radiations, the wavelength will change. So is the frequency. Otherwise, the structures can give energy back to the photons. So eventually one and the same. So basically there is a structural change is there in whatever you are doing, whether it is a molecule or whether it is tissue. Raman spectroscopy can be used. And Professor Ajay Kapoor also told that this type of artificial intelligence related, whether it is program development or diagnostics or prognostic procedure, whatever is to be done, what students and teachers should do. But what I feel is that, students, if they are in biology field, medicine field, engineering field, or basic science, chemistry, they all will get involved. Only thing is that they need to have training, and they will be able to do fantastic, especially there is a great future in this area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to our next topic, we have with us Mr. A. Gopalakrishnan, Chief Saver, CMECT-Greater Cochin. He's a chartered accountant by profession, a senior partner in one of the oldest and most reputed firms of chartered accountants, Messrs. K. Venkatachalam Iyer and Co., headquartered in Thiruvananthapuram. He's also the founder president of Chinmaya Vidyalaya Kottayam and the chairman and managing director of Chinmaya Vidyalaya Vadutala. He will be speaking about the role of Indian knowledge systems in the world of artificial intelligence and ChatGPT.
I invite you, sir, to the dais.
Hari Om, pranams. For last 2 hours, we listened to technology, the need for change of the mindset, adopting technology, gaining mastery over that, and how this can be used in the various activities and various professions, etc. And you may be wondering what Indian knowledge system has to do with ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. I can tell you honestly, all these innovative products, software, technology, science, whatever that the mankind has actually discovered and using now, it is only by application of the systems and processes designed in the traditional Indian knowledge system, which is known as IKS. Minister of Education in October 2020, along with the NEP 2020, has established a center for IKS, and it has been reactivated in 2021. And IKS focuses on the traditional Indian knowledge on mathematics, science, astronomy, scriptures, philosophy. And you will be able to accept and believe that whatever may be the type of development starting from Isaac Newton's law of action or Albert Einstein's relativity is equal to mc squared or Archimedes' principle, it is all because of the continuous contemplative, reflective thinking on a chosen subject with total dedication, total commitment, total passion, total devotion, so that in a particular moment, an intuitionary type of experience came to him and the discovery has taken place. I will say, as a mathematics student, intuition is a combination, or intuition is a skill, intelligence is an attribute, an ability that you develop when you combine deep thinking with emotion and the willpower. If 3 things are coming together, the intuition comes, and at this moment of intuition, only these discoveries take place. Microsoft founder Bill Gates used to spend a week every year to do contemplation, intensive thinking, and he gets intuition. And what you find Microsoft they do internet is because of the 1 or 2 weeks he's spending alone in a solitude. And after speaking how ultimately it remains how strong you are using your mind, how strong you are able to enhance the skill set of the mind. And the Indian knowledge system, starting from the Bhagavad Gita, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, Upanishads, Vedas, Mahabharata, all speaks about how to control the mind. Ramayana contains volumes and volumes of how to control the mind, how to focus the mind, how to develop concentration, how to develop intuition. From jnana, how that becomes prajna. Prajna is intuition. From prajna, how it goes to superconscious experience, where you get some kind of a revelation. Maybe it can be a ChatGPT revelation, maybe an experience for medicine. And after listening to the chapter 6 of the Gita, Lord Arjuna asks, you tell me about all these high order thinking skills and deep thinking. I can control the, I can't control my mind. And with a smiling face, Lord Krishna says, no, it is not that difficult. By chapter 35, chapter 6 says, by continuous abhyasa and continuous detachment. Practice and practice and practice. And detach with everything which is against your chosen goal. So I will say ChatGPT, accept and adopt, hug and embrace, continuously practice. I request all my beloved students, come to the class from tomorrow onwards, spending 2 hours on ChatGPT on the chosen topic to be taught tomorrow. become champions of ChatGPT, come prepared to the classroom, knowing fully well what the subject is to be taught. And that our proud, committed teachers also come to the classroom, studying that topic, how all these 25 years you are teaching with your rich experience in a particular style, that domain knowledge, that commitment, together with the new knowledge that you get from the ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. So the prepared student and the prepared teacher, with a new, cultivate a new mind, refine a new mind, accept a cultured mind, a student mind. And the student mind, I say, let us all dedicate ourselves to become as innocent, pure, and simple as a child, and a mature, wise person as a grown-up person. That is Indian knowledge system. And Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth and the Chinmaya institutions are the only institutions in the country, I will say globally, which has mastered in the art of thinking and developing intuition. So I request all the teachers, all the students, all the participants, all the parents to embrace technology, develop thinking skills in the scriptures based on the Indian knowledge system, combine the two, become champions and masters not only on the scriptures, but also the chosen field of your profession. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. On that note, I would like to take this opportunity to share with you a great news. Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth has been selected as an IKS Center of AICTE. The great news came yesterday. I congratulate Sunita ma'am and her entire team for the achievement. It's indeed a proud moment for all of us. Moving back to the session, our final speaker for the day is Dr. Appara Mukhamalaji, who will be talking about new programs for students to thrive in the new economy. Dr. Appara Mukhamala comes with a long, successful track record in the world of medicines, business, and philanthropy in the United States and India. At present, he is a clinical professor of radiology at the College of Human Medicine at Michigan State University and chairman emeritus of the radiology department at the Hurley Medical Center, Michigan. He's an institution builder by nature, being the founder of the Telugu Association of North America and the American Associations of Physicians from India. He is currently serving as the managing trustee of Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth. Welcome you, sir.
I'm just kidding. I have a surprise news to share with you for some of you. Let's go for it, guys. Sound up, sounds. Hari Om. Open the packet in front of you. There is a brochure in the packet, the second one, about CVV Institute of Science and Technology. Ajay ji, please get me show it to everybody. Here you go. Thank you. The topic given to me today is what should the student do to face the challenges that are coming up in this new economy. I can tell you with certainty, I'm not a fool to tell you that I know the answer. However, there is an organization called OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, to which 62 countries are signatories. India is not one of them. However, India is participating in various committees. One of the committees is, what should a student do today to be ready for 2030? I will give you a couple of examples from that. Blame or credit goes to OECD, not to me. I'm just a messenger. They said 2 areas that will become very relevant for the future are biotechnology, which has been talked about by Ramchandranji and them. Other one is artificial intelligence. You heard enough AI and machine learning and chatbot. Now, my Chinmaya students, hello. I have a gift for you if you get this right. Who founded OpenAI? Anybody? No. Who founded Chat GPT? Nobody? Okay. One great thinker made a statement, Chat GPT is scary good. Who is that? I'll give the answers. I'll keep the gift. It was founded by Sam Altman and Elon Musk, OpenAI. Elon Musk, one of the greatest thinkers, perverted thinkers of this time, said, Chat GPT is scary good. It is scary, but it can be tamed. It will not lead to destruction of the society. And going back to my topic, what should they study? Biotechnology, artificial intelligence. The future of medicine is in precision, personalized medicine. You take a few drops of blood, you can diagnose cancer. It's not too far away in the future. You don't need a biopsy, you don't need surgery, you don't need a CAT scan, you don't need MRI. I may be out of business, I'm a radiologist. I made my whole living doing CT MRIs. That may become obsolete. That is the future. Coming to AI, whatever you think, it will make it happen. It can lead to destruction if you don't do it right. For that, more important than the technology is how we embrace the technology. Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda said, either you embrace the change or you get crushed by it. None of us want to get crushed, correct? So we need to embrace the change. Only thing that's constant is change. We should be ready for whatever that comes. For that, there are some qualities that Gurudev used to describe in a very animated way. I will try to recite 2, 3, 4 of them without imitating him too much. I cannot animate like he does. He said, Abhayam. Without that, you cannot go anywhere. If you are afraid to step that earth may sink, you will never get anywhere. So be fearless. Whatever change comes, you are ready for it. Jnanam and Vijnanam. Jnanam is not enough. You need knowledge and wisdom. Again, I am quoting Gurudev. If I misquote him, it's my fault. And he said, truthfulness, Satyam. You know what you know. You should also know what you don't know. So that you back off. Let somebody else do it. Ahimsa. Most important. Don't harm anything. Doesn't mean just the fellow beings. Plants, animals, and environment around you. The OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, said, we are destroying nature. We are taught and we believe the resources are limitless. That's absolutely not true. There's a colonial mentality. Pardon me, my friend. You are not one of them. In India, we worship nature. We do not exploit nature. British told us exploit it, conquer it. Those words are not in our dictionary. We coexist, we co-live as a family, community, society, nation, and internationally. So learn to live with it. We truly are Vasudeva Kutumbakam. We share bits and pieces of each other every day, every minute of the day. About 300 people here in the last 1 minute. In the last 3 hours, each one of us breathed for 17 to 18 times a minute. Every time we breathed out 10.40 times atoms. What you breathed out, I breathed in. What I breathed out, you breathed in. Basically, we all became literally and metaphorically one. This is called satsangatvam. If you live with the like-minded people, we become one. That's the Vasudeva Kutumbakam. Nature is just that. Who is giving us the oxygen? Is it the chatbot, ChatGPT, the plants and things around us? We mercilessly cut them. That's not the way we live with nature. We live in unison with the nature. That is a colonial way. You cut a tree and you make a boat just to go for the pleasure of it. Is there a more sinful thing than that? Dear friends, my students, change is constant, change will come. Right now, the latest color is biotechnology and AI and Chat GPT. 10 years from now, nobody can predict what will happen, but be ready to embrace the change so that you will be a successful citizen of the universe. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Hari Om.
Thank you so much, Mukhamalaji. Your words were motivating and your energy infectious. With that pleasant surprise, we come to the end of the seminar. I hope all of you had an educative and informative session. Now I would like to request Professor Ajay ji and Sri Gopalakrishnan ji to come onto the stage to felicitate our keynote speakers, Mr. Andrews Voliotis and Mr. Saiju Aravind. I request you both to be present here as well.
Thank you very much. Nice, very nice. Right. Oh, look moving. Yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity today. Really appreciate it.
Very good.
Well done today. Yeah, very good. Very much. Well done. You do more than yeah, please, I'm happy to.
With that picture perfect moment, we come to the end. And to bring things to a close officially, I now invite the charming Shri N.N. Sundar, Campus Director and Trustee, Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth, to propose the vote of thanks.
Hariom, namaste. Give all of yourselves a very big round of applause for the terrific seminar that we saw today is an outstanding example of the collaboration between Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth and the Chinmaya Mission Education and Cultural Trust of Greater Cochin under the leadership respectively of our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ajay Kapoor, and the Chief Sevak, Shri A. Gopalakrishnan ji. I really hope and pray that going forward, we have many such seminars where we can share the expertise between CVV and the larger Chinmaya Mission community of this region. So there is one feedback that I have and I have received also, is that as educational institutions, it is our responsibility also to talk holistically about a topic. So I think in a future session, we should also discuss the pitfalls of the technology that we talk about. In business and for consumers, there is a principle that says buyer beware, right? So even with artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, etc., as consumers, we have to beware. What are the sources of knowledge? Who created that, and how was it consumed? And of course, there's a whole host of issues associated. That said, terrific session, and I have the pleasant but difficult task of thanking all of the speakers. Professor Andrew, your focus on some of the interesting applications of artificial intelligence was an eye-opener to many of us. Thank you. I'm sorry if I'm rushing through because they're looking at me first. Dr. Saiju, there was an excellent demonstration of Chat GPT, and Aparoji, I actually managed to register for Chat GPT during the break. So all my letters to donors are going to be from Chat GPT. Dr. Ajay Kapoor, again, terrific event, and I think your wider perspective of what students and parents should be preparing for in the future, I think is a timely reminder for all of us. The three speakers online, Mr. Jagdish Murjani, Mr. Subramaniam Chidambaram, and Dr. Ramchandran, covered a lot of ground in terms of what opportunities lie for us. For all of you students, parents, teachers who are inspired, I think there's a lot to think about when you think about your career going out of CMECT, out of Chinmaya Vidyalaya. I think this should be, there is a lot of food for thought there. Mr. Gopalakrishnan ji, I think you set the right context on how IKS and the mindset, the Indian mindset, can be a tremendous contribution to leveraging these opportunities. And Aparoji, as usual, yours was a very exuberant and very interesting exposition on the topic. Of course, Dr. Sandhya Shankar, our faculty in English, did an outstanding job in terms of doing the Master of Ceremonies for this event. All said and done, the biggest contribution also is by the Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth and the Chinmaya Vidyalaya Vadodala teams, led by the respective, and of course, Principal Pratibha ji. I have to thank you for the way you organized your team. I think this definitely sets a high standard for us to follow in the future, and a lot of learning for us from Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth as well. So thank you all. Thank you, parents, students. I think at the break I checked, there were about 70 people who had joined via Zoom. and about 40 people who have joined via YouTube. Has the numbers increased since then? 90. So therefore, I think it's an excellent session. These sessions will be available as YouTube videos. We'll publish the links through both Chinmaya Vidyalaya Vadodala and through Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth. So please distribute them widely, because I think it's a topic that is very timely, and therefore I think you can share it with anyone and everyone you wish to share it with. Lastly, I wanted to make sure that you look at the flyer that is there, because we didn't get a chance to talk about the streams of study that we hope to open up. It's there in the flyer. Please look at it. And since Chinmaya Vidyalayas are heavily STEM centric, I think this announcement is of particular interest to all of you. Thank you all. Thank you. And now over to you.
Thank you, Sundarji. So the whole session of the day has left you with more questions than in the morning. I think the session has been a fruitful one, because we go away with a lot of food for thought. I'll just say that to wrap things up, we'll have to learn to adopt the new technology and, of course, adapt to the challenges that it will be providing. With that, I invite our CVV students for the closing prayer.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om